Okay, and we're up and at 'em, everybody. Welcome to another Pauper Commander deck building stream here on the PDHRS YouTube channel, youtube.com website. It is February 12th, Wednesday, February 12th, and today we have a treat. So I've been thinking about this card a bit lately, Judith the Scourge Diva. This is a really powerful commander, originally from around I think Ravnica, like Guilds of Ravnica. 3 mana, 2/2. Other creatures control get +1/+0. Whenever non-token creature you control dies, she deals damage to anything. This card, I think, gets pretty unfairly swept under the rug for one big reason, and that is the existence of this card right here, Mayhem Devil. And so it kind of got me thinking, like, why would I play Judith instead of Mayhem Devil? And there's actually a lot of differences that don't make themselves particularly obvious on first blush when you look at these two cards side by side. Obviously, like, Mayhem Devil is better stats. You get a 3/3 for 3. Whenever any player sacrifices any permanent, deals damage to anything, which is great. You know, treasures, blood tokens, clues, creatures, whatever. You know, Mayhem Devil gets to the ping in here. But it leaves you in a pretty specific type of deck where you're like, it's more of an aristocrat style deck. It doesn't really have a lot of flexibility to get away from that because it's specifically tied to sacrificing permanents. But Judith, on the other hand, can do that. It's not as good because, you know, it's not when any player sacrifices anything, it's just whenever a non-token creature control dies. So it kind of wants you to go wide. But it doesn't buff your tokens, or it doesn't like give you damage when your tokens die. You only get the power buff. So I like looking at these two cards side by side. Judith, I think, makes for a really compelling aggro deck that Mayhem Devil just can't do. And it's just kind of like cobbling together all these disparate pieces to create a board of creatures that is just like very, very threatening and doesn't read that way. So I think Judith, it's really easy. The key is to take advantage of both lines of text. Like, you want your creatures to get additional power. You want your creatures to deal damage when they die. And if you're able to do that, there's a lot of creatures that are out there in Rakdos colors that really like take those abilities and kind of punch them up to an 11. And that's what we're kind of go over today is an aggro-focused build where we're just going to kind of, you know, if you've seen the movie or read the book Moneyball, we're kind of like building threats in the aggregate. You know, we're kind of maximizing our functionality to just take over games with just like simple functional creatures that kind of don't read very well on paper for most folks. So let's jump on in. First thing we're going to do, lands. This is a 34-lander. Lopella, Mountain, Swamp. We'll get Mayhem Devil out of here because I don't like him. And then we're gonna add some more here. Probably gonna need more black than red. A lot of the 1-drops I think are gonna be more like black heavy. So we're just gonna have 19, or rather 18. Let's start with 18 mountains, 19 swamps. Oh no, that's 37 lands. We'll reduce this to 16, and then there we go. That should be it, right? 33, 34. Okay, we'll do that. So the first thing we're going to do is a type of creature. We got our Rakdos colors. We got our commons. We're just going to start with creatures. Creatures are what make the aggro decks tick. And we're going to look at some with dice triggers. I'll demonstrate kind of what I mean here. Why didn't this work? Oh, because I typed creatures. Followers of the channel know that I oftentimes pluralize my searches in a way that makes it impossible to pull up any search results. Okay, so we got our dice creatures in these colors. We're going to go to mana value. We're not 1-drops. Let's a good example. Oh, Dynamite Diver. This is a recent one. Aether Drift All-Star here. 1 mana, 1/1. When this creature dies, deals 1 damage to any target. So this is not a deck where we're going to be sacrificing all our creatures. This is not an aristocrat deck. This is an aggro deck. So the important thing to note here is that we have a 1-mana creature. With Judith out, it's going to be a 2/1 for 1 mana, which is like a Jackal Pup. You know, it's fine. It's going to trade with a lot of things. A lot of like important creatures in the format are 2 toughness or less. Um, so like you have the ability to like attack into people pretty freely with this. And if it dies, it can trade up between this trigger here. When this creature dies, deals damage to any target. Between this trigger and a Judith trigger, when a creature dies, you get to deal damage to any target. All of a sudden, you have a 1-mana 2/1 that can trade up with a 4 toughness creature. And if you don't, you just have 2 points of damage you can throw wherever you want it to go. It's a lot of value packed into a little body, and it's really just like a 2-card combo, right? This and your commander. Just having your commander out makes cards like this way more powerful. Because, like, what are they going to do? You trade off, you kill, you throw a token in front of this, right? Block it, whatever. Like, this trades with the token, and then you just have 2 free damage to, like, kill 2 more tokens. You can kill a 2 toughness creature. You can just do 2 to somebody's face. And there's a lot of creatures that do this. So we're just going to load them up here. We want Dynamite Diver. There's the bulk of them are going to be like Festering Goblin. When it dies, it gives a creature -1/-1. So you don't get the extra point of damage, but it can't go face, but you can still like hit a creature. A little bit worse than something like Dynamite Diver, but this is like the kind of suite of creatures that we want. There was also one recently, Fear of Lost Teeth, which is really good too. A black creature, 1 mana, 1/1, 2/1 with Judith. When it dies, it deals damage to any target, and you gain a life. I think it's hard. This is something that like Mayhem Devil can never do. Mayhem Devil is all about just like generating a bunch of game objects and then sacrificing them and kind of capitalizing off your opponent's sacrifices and just like burning through resources in an Urza's fashion to play a control mid-rangey game. Whereas we are just going straight aggro, and all of this extra damage is just free real estate. Because like a 2/1 for 1, like the rate is good. A 2-power creature is going to kill a lot of stuff, like I said. So Fear of Losing. Well, hello. Losing teeth. Let's see if you have a cold. Fear of. Let's start there. Lost Teeth. There we go. Okay, and then we want Festering Goblin, Festering Mummy. All these festering creatures. When they die, they give a thing -1/-1. And like another thing is that the rate on these creatures is super good. Yeah, rate. I'm a big fan of like high rate creatures. Festering Newt. This is one that it gets better if you have a couple uncommons in your deck, but we don't have any of those cards. If you have a Brew Witch, it gives you -4/-4, but it doesn't matter. We have a 2/1. Dies, kills other things, or players. Footlight Fiend and Goblin Arsonist. We're just going to like scrape the bottom of the barrel for every single one of these. And there's some other ones at higher mana values, but the 1-mana ones are the best. Get the most bang for your buck. Grim Physician. This is like a big classic creature that we want to... The way that I've kind of thought about it is there's 2 big classes of creature here that we want to include in a deck like this, and this is one of them. Shambling Ghast. We'll get to the other one in a minute. It's good for similar reasons, but... Shambling Goblin. Yeah, that's the other one. So we've got, what, like 10 1-drops that are all good? Sounds good to me. And then we can even go, like, even at 2 mana. Obviously, like, the rate gets a little bit worse. We're not modifying things. For Care Thrall, I don't care. We want the ones that are just, like, straight removal. Those are the best ones. Emberfist Zubara, possibly. Feels weird to say. But 2 mana, like a Grizzly Bear, when it dies, it deals a point, and you get another additional point from Judith. Pretty good. Perilous Mirror probably is good enough, honestly. Throw Perilous Mirror here. Beating your opponent to death with, Grizzly Bears or whatever, highly underrated. They get the job done in a 30-life format. You'd be surprised. You would be surprised. These one deals damage to me. Don't care. Target player's not good. Splatter Goblin, a 3/1 for 2. Gives a thing -1/-1. Yeah, let's do that. The key, I think, like the ones that I like the most are the ones where you can point it at creatures. There's a lot of things that die that just like players lose life or whatever. Tattered Mummy is a good example of that. Whenever Tattered Mummy dies, opponent loses 2 life. Cool. But I like ones that actually kill creatures. 3 mana is a little high on the totem pole, so we'll get to that a little bit later. Sultai Emissary and there's a rat from Duskmoor that's similar. When they die, you manifest, or manifest Dread in the case of the Duskmoor card, which are good because you'll notice Judith doesn't trigger, doesn't have a death trigger for tokens. There's a lot of creatures that die and make tokens. However, I think it's really important that we maximize every piece of this card. Luckily, when these creatures die, Sultai Emissary, for example, it manifests. It makes an actual like creature, not a token. So in that respect, like the cards like that are pretty good. We may end up finding room for those. Not sure just yet. All right, so we've got 12 creatures that have death triggers that will help kill other things, which is a great place to start. The second type of creature that I really like in a deck like this is creatures that have first strike. And I'll explain to you why. First strike is a really powerful ability. I think it's taken for granted a lot, and they've kind of designed creatures away from what makes it so powerful. It's creatures that block. Blocking with first strike is tremendously powerful when it warps standard or limited formats rather. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna see here. So first striking creatures again are really good because of the fact that, like I said, there's a lot of low toughness creatures that are very valuable in this format. A lot of tokens, a lot of things that just get in the way, and this just being able to have like a 2/1 for 1 with first strike, first striking with 2 power creature is great. In order to kill it, you need to oftentimes double block it, and at that point, they have virtual menace. First strike just plays a lot better than it reads. I think, especially like a lot of these 1-drops I have access to are just like really good creatures. Fearless Pup, for example, being able to boast a +2 power. Goldhound can sacrifice itself. We can get Judith trigger there. That sort of thing. Voltaren Stinger, same kind of deal as Fearless Pup. There aren't many 1-drops that have first strike. There's a couple really good 2-drops that we're going to employ. But just like giving first striking creatures an extra point of power, it's kind of like a force multiplier, right? Like these creatures are balanced to be a 1/1 for 1 with first strike, because a 2/1 for 1 with first strike is busted, and like game warping. Hard to block, hard to deal with, but we're going to do that. So we're going to play all of these 1-drops that have first strike. We're going to play Fearless Pup, and this also gets better with other cards that we're going to play too, which I'll get to in a second. Fearless Pup, Goldhound. We have this one, that Grim Initiate makes a token, which is like icing on the cake. It's not why I play the card. I'd play if it was a vanilla, like a French vanilla 1/1 form of first strike, but we got a little thing on the back end. Fine with me. I'm not playing cards for their ability to make tokens, even though you could do that with Judith. You're like forfeiting the back half of the card, but an Anthem as your commander is very, very good. I personally just kind of dislike playing with tokens. I like playing with like real Magic cards, and I want to look at my cards and I want them all to have relevant rules text, and it's a more fun puzzle for me that way than just like having a big stack of tokens and just dumping them on the table, just creating game objects. Spartan Veteran's a new one. As long as it's your turn, it's first strike. This is kind of the templating that they've opted for in most cases now with first strike. It really only kicks in if you are the one whose turn it is, or if you're attacking. It doesn't apply if the creature's blocking, but we're not going to be blocking with these creatures most of the time. Spartan Veteran. Just have tons of 1s and 2s, which is my kind of deck. Striking Sliver. Simple enough. 1-mana, 1/1 first strike. Gives things other slivers first strike, but who cares? It's a 1/1 first strike for 1. Voltaren Stinger is another really good one. Things that just like pump themselves, like mana sinks like this, are really good. I like them a lot. Then we get into our 2-drops here. So I don't know how many of y'all have played against like Porcelain Legionnaire in PDH or Limited, but it's a tough card to deal with if you're not just like burning it out. I mean, it's a 3/1 first strike for 2 and a Phyrexian white mana. a 3/1 first striking creature for 2 mana. It's really good. Very hard to like go toe to toe with in combat. Aether Chaser is kind of like that templating, sort of. We don't really care about the text beyond the first strike. We're playing it for the first strike. We're just kind of maximizing our ability to get these offensive threats on the battlefield as fast as we can and make them hard to block or bad to block. And just push damage that way. Blood Petal Celebrant is another great one. First strike, as long as it's attacking. When it dies, you make a blood token. So we get a couple things for free. You know, with Judith on the board, we have a 3/1 first striking creature when it attacks. What's this card called? Blood Petal Celebrant. And when it dies, we get to ping something. We get to make a blood token. It's all gravy from there. These 2 mana 1/1s are less appealing. I really want something with like 2 power or higher. Grenzo's Cutthroat is that. It has Dethrone, so as long as you attack the person with the highest life total, it gets a 1/1 counter. If you do that once, then you're right on the money. Grenzo's Cutthroat is good. And it grows, obviously, as long as you point it at that person. Hobgoblin Captain is Pack Tactics, so with Judith on the board, you have a 4/1. Whenever it attacks, if you have 6 power creatures attacking, it gets first strike, which we are going to do. All our creatures get +1/+0. It's very easy to attain this ability. So we'll play Hobgoblin Captain. Obviously, this deck is weak to sweepers, but I don't care. Who gives a shit? Who cares? Played a Geopede, I love the idea of, but we're not... If you don't hit your land drops, it kind of sucks. I mean, a 2/1 first strike for 2 is fine, but this is kind of like a tier below for me. Ratcatcher Trainee is perfect. It makes some tokens, so we get some power on the board, and it also is a 2/1 first striking attacker. It kind of does a lot. So we're going to play that one. Ratcatcher Trainee. Right Piker. Beautiful, beautiful design. 2 mana 2/1 first strike, attacks every turn. Simple. That's what we want it to be doing anyway, attacking every turn. Zada's Commando, yes. Restorator Butcher, I think so too. So first strike and Wither is a pretty potent combination. This thing's going to be really tough to kill in combat, simply because, especially with the way that like damage is assigned now, like you can double block this thing, and you can just like you have 2 points of Wither damage to assign before regular combat damage and shrink people's creatures. It's going to be a tough one. So we're going to play that one. Restorator Butcher. I'm willing to make an exception for this card, being a 1 power 2-drop. Zada's Commando is another one. Relevant rules I should say irrelevant rules text. Just care about the fact that it is a 2 mana 2/1 first strike. Don't really care about the ally thing because we don't have any allies. Ships 27 creatures. Let's see what else we have that is big in first strikes. Not like a ton of stuff that I really like. Razor Swine's pretty interesting, and the Infect stuff. Inner Flame Igniter is pretty interesting. I might play that one. Horse Bruiser, Butcher Booktail. Yeah, now we're getting kind of like expensive. I don't really like expensive stuff that much. I like having my cool creatures, leaving stuff up for removal. All right, let's see. Give me one sec. Kind of thinking here. Let's look at some other things. Oh, you know what we can do? There's a card, Haunt of the... I'm just going to let this autocomplete. Dead Marshes. This is a Lord of the Rings card. So this is one that... there's a couple cards that do this. 1 mana 1/1 that you can return from your graveyard to your hand. This one, it just comes directly to the battlefield, but only if you have a legendary creature. In PDH, it comes up, obviously when your commander is legendary, or if you have like ring tempts you stuff. With a legendary commander, though, having access to a 2/1 ETB Scry 1 that never really goes away, you can just giving it back, seems pretty valuable. We can also look at double strikers. What do we have as far as double striking creatures? That might be like where we want to go with our next stop on the curve. There's a few off the top of my head in red at 3 mana. Yeah, red cap, twin scroll, and two-headed Cerberus. The rest are kind of unreliable. I might play Ridgetop Raptor, honestly. Like a 3-1 double strike is pretty good. Let's play these three. Raging, red cap, twin scroll, shaman, and Cerberus. Yeah, this seems reasonable. Like a 2/2 double striking creature is nothing to sneeze at. It's gonna kill a lot, and like with the extra damage from Judith, it's gonna trade up like in a big way. Bill, welcome to the stream. We've already got 31 creatures in our deck. They all either have death triggers that ping other things, or they have first strike. Just ways to capitalize on Judith's abilities here. So we've got 31 creatures. Let's cool it on creatures for a minute, and we'll talk about some spells. So let me introduce you all to a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful spell here called You Are Already Dead. So there's three cards, three instants at common that do this. Destroy target creature that's dealt damage this turn, and then you draw a card. One of them doesn't draw you a card, but two of them do. Regardless, this kind of a template is insane in a deck like this. So not only are we throwing around a lot of 1 damage triggers from this, and our other creatures, honestly, but we also have a lot of first striking creatures. So like, for example, they block our Goldhound. First strike damage happens, we can immediately fire this off and kill their creature. It's sick, and it's an awesome synergy, and these cards are underplayed. I think, like, there's so many places in your average PDH game, average casual PDH game, where this card is going to punch way above its weight class. So I'm going to play You Are Already Dead, and there's two other ones. Mirrodin Avenged, Avenged, which is the same exact thing from March the Machine. Destroy a creature that's dealt damage, draw a card. And there's also Fatal Blow. This is an older one, an oldie but a goodie. Bury target creature that's damaged this turn. Bury is old parlance for cannot be regenerated. So, yeah. Destroy target creature that's dealt damage, can't be regenerated. You don't draw a card, but it's a 1-mana removal spell. Pretty sick. There's a couple other things that are going to be really good in a deck like this too. So like, I'm trying to think of the best way to introduce it. We'll do, hold on, I think I have one on my desk. What's the card called? Oh, there we go. It's called Collateral Damage. And there are a few other cards that do this exact thing too. As an additional cost, sacrifice a creature. Deals 3 damage to any target. So this is another way to throw around a lot of damage whenever we want. Not only is this perfect with all of our creatures like Fear of Lost Teeth, Goblin Arsonist, Festering Mummy, etc., but again, really great synergy with First Strike, because what you can do is if, say we're attacking with Zada's Commando, they have a 4 toughness, or even a 5, it doesn't matter. Let's say it's 4 toughness creatures, best case scenario for us in this case. So we attack with Zada's Commando. They block with their Stonehorn Dignitary, or whatever the hell, 4 toughness creature. Oh no, we do our 3 first strike damage, because the creature's going to die if we don't do anything, right? Assign our first strike damage, 3 damage on the 4 drop. We pay 1 red mana, sacrifice the Zada's Commando. Now we have a Judith trigger, deal an extra point to the Stonehorn Dignitary. Now it's dead, and we have a lightning bolt that we can just throw wherever we want, kill whatever we want. There's a few cards that do this, and we're going to play all of them. It's another way to just like get extra Judith triggers in a pinch if you need them. Collateral Damage, Improvised Club. This one is 2 mana for 4 damage, along with Heartfire, one from War of the Spark. Heartfire, 2 mana, sacrifice creature, Planeswalker, does 4 damage to any target. Importantly, these are all any target, so you can burn out players with these. The rate on these cards is very high. Burning people out with these is not hard. Improvised Club is the same thing, except you can sacrifice an artifact or a creature. So a little extra modality, but we're not sacrificing a lot of artifacts. Mostly you're sacrificing creatures in combat. notably also, you can just like assign first strike damage on players and then sacrifice your creature to get them for 7. First strike lets you do a lot of great things with Judith and these sorts of cards. Really great keyword. It really like again, a lot of again, every single ability that we're kind of cobbling together in this deck with these cards is gonna just like be supercharged. But that's not all. There's also Reckless Abandon. This one is a sorcery, but you get a little bit of bang for your buck here. For some reason, everything's running real slow. Reckless Abandon. As initial cost, sacrifice creature, deals 4 damage to creature player, so it's 1 red mana. So it's a sorcery, but it's the rate on it is higher, which is fine. I have no problem with that. You can also play like a more like goblin heavy build. We do have a lot of goblins. Play something like Goblin Grenade. Maybe, how many do we have? Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 is pretty good. And you know what we can do here? Do you want to play Goblin Matron? Do you want to play a few more goblins? There is like a really cool Judith deck on Mox Field from noted PTH brewer Nate Diggity. Kind of an old school PTH brewer, competitive brewer. That has a Judith deck that is a goblin deck. That's not exactly what I'm doing here, but there is something to be said for playing a Goblin Grenade in this deck. We have a lot of goblins, although it does have a fail rate. I may not play it. Depends on what else I end up putting in. All right, let's go back and look for, let's see, where to go from here. We've got like a really good base. We could just like kind of flesh out our removal a little bit. Because, I mean, we're a Rakdos deck, so we have to play, like, Terminate, right? Just the OG. 2 mana, destroy a creature, can't be regenerated. Just get them. We do need ways to, like, kill things without always having, like, fodder to sacrifice. We do need more creatures, though. So let's look for more death triggers. Oh, while thinking about it, we'll also put in Village Rites and Corrupted Conviction. And Eviscerator's Insight. Just like some card draw stuff. Alright. And now we're back. Back to the death trigger stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's always hard to kind of prioritize this stuff. There's so many different effects. I'm not really interested in token stuff. There's a lot of that. We could do like serrated scorpion stuff, like things that die and burn people. I kind of like that too. Let's do serrated scorpion. And we'll do like the tattered mummy and all that stuff. That's pretty good. Blazing Effigy unfortunately does not have any power. We don't need the ramp. Our curve's really low. We'll play the Emberfist Zubra. For those of you who don't know, Emberfist Zubra. Oh, it's not in here because my computer's taking forever to do this stuff. When it dies, it deals damage to target creature to any target equal to the number of Zubra put into all the graveyards this turn. So it's going to be 1. It's going to be a grizzly bear that dies paying something, but that's good enough. It's good enough. Like, block my grizzly bear, you know, block and kill it, I don't care. We'll trade and kill maybe, we'll get like a 2-for-1 off this most of the time probably. And if not, like, we have, you know, Fatal Blow. Notably, like, Fatal Blow is obviously great with First Strike, but it's also great if we just like ping something for 1 damage and can Fatal Blow it. These cards are like really easy to enable, and this card does it just fine. A 3/1 Death Touch dies, draw a card. It's not bad. We'll play Guildsworn Prowler. Orcish Hellraiser. 3/2, so 4/2 for 2. Dies deals 2 damage to a player's echo. Yeah, we can do that. I'm down for that. I love a good rate. And a 4/2 for 2. Hey, you know, we built an entire deck last week with a 4/1 for 2. And 4/2 for 2 is just that much better. So we'll play an Rocket Shell Razor. What's this card do? 2/1 for the transform. When it dies, each one sacrifice an artifact or creature. It's not bad. Not bad. Not too enthusiastic about it though. Like notably, like, this isn't like an Aristocrats deck. Like Vivisector would generate some incremental value, but it's not like, you know, we're gonna dump all our stuff into our graveyard. This one's interesting. So we get 3/1 for 2. When it dies, deals a point to a player, and we can offspring it. You know, we'll play Emissary, and we'll also play the rat. What was it called? Innocuous Rat. This is one where it dies, you Manifest Dread. Yeah, we'll try that. Novice Occultist, probably 2. Yeah, Tattered Mummy. You know what? You know what? Where's that rat? I'm not gonna play these cards. Get that one out of here. I want things with more than 1 power. I want them to be dangerous. You know? What card did I just put in here? Innocuous Rat and Salt Emissary. Salt Emissary has a sweet, like, Ugin's Fate printing, so it hurts me to see it go. But I want my creatures to be a little more threatening than that. Like a 2/2, when it dies, it hits everyone for 2 is, like, pretty reasonable. Bogarden Firefiend. This card deals 2 damage to creature when it dies. Let's play it out. Again, like, we don't need a ton of power on our creatures, but I mean, because like just beating people to death with Grizzly Bears is good, but I don't want a 2-mana 2/1 with no evasion or anything like that. It's just kind of depressing. But we do like Bogarden Firefiend because this one's going to be a 3/1 for 3. When it dies, deals 2 damage to a creature. Judith deals 1 damage to a creature. You know, we get to do a lot of damage. Etched Familiar, each opponent loses 2, you gain 2. That might be good enough. Oh, Hissing Equinar. That's a good one. Yeah, a lot of good death triggers. Play Soul Cage Fiend. This one's kind of a heater. For those of you who are not familiar with Soul Cage Fiend, 3 mana, 3/2. When it dies, each player loses 3 life. Yeah, we can burn someone out with that. Seems good. And then we'll play Hissing Equinar too. Because this is one where any creature dies on the battlefield, it pings, which is good. I think we're going to round out our creatures with a couple 4-drops. And then we'll go to some spells. What am I at right now? 39? Yeah, 40 for a creature should be good. Yeah, these are not the most compelling. Okay. So the last 2 I'm going to do are Manticore and the other one that is Flash. Enters, Destroy. Enters, Destroy. Like, it's the same template as Final Sting Fairy. Like, ooh, or Hooded Assassin. Doesn't have Flash, though. See, I like the 4-drops because they have Flash, Manticore, and Rooftop Assassin. And I guess Stinging Blade Assassin. This one has Lifelink, though. I guess Manticore is the worst of them, but it's so much cooler. Yeah, we'll cut Manticore and do the other 2. I think 2 is fine. Or, you know, we can just do all 3. Just do all 3. These are more like Fatal Blow effects, which I think is fine. I like them. And these ones have Flash and they have Flying, so they're evasive threats that also take something out. There's also like Vraska's Fender. Like, Man, there's a lot of good ones. Hooded Assassin is another one that I really like. It enters as a 2/3, and or you can destroy a thing. Rescue's Finisher is kind of the better one. It's a 3 mana 3/2 that does the same thing. But I like the ones that have flash, for obvious reasons, and they kind of top off our curve, which I kind of like. So we've got 42 creatures. What's the curve look like? Oh, that 1 drops, 2 drops, fewer 3 drops. Okay. 14, 19 permanents of mana value 1, 14 mana value 2. So we do a lot of stuff. Okay, so I'm happy with that. We got 88 cards. Let's see. We've got a lot of removal and a lot of burn. Let's see. What else does Judith need? Like non-creature spell-wise. We could always do... Oh, what's I guess we have a lot of creatures, so we could do just like run the suite of like Bolton, Gatekeeper, and Witty Roastmaster, and extra damage, and Impact Tremors. I like to run all these cards because we do have a pretty high creature count. Notably, we could also do something like Get to Slinger, or cards that enter and deal damage. It doesn't have to be just like creatures when they die, they deal damage. You can also have ones that enter and do damage too. Just get a lot of value that way. And it seems okay, you know. I'm not opposed to it, but I really just like making my creatures kind of annoying to block, you know. That's what really appeals to me. Okay, so it's just those. Oh, you know what else? Let's look at oh, Stormcaller's really good. Let's play an Etched Familiar. I don't think I put one of those in. And then we'll play a Stormcaller. And that's fine. We'll call it there. Call it there. Let's look up creatures. I said I stopped putting creatures in the deck, but I can't do it. So things that have menace. I can think of one off the top of my head that I know I want. It is Insolent Neonate. Snarling Gorehound's going to be really good in this deck too. Let's run these two. Insolent Neonate, Snarling Gorehound. We'll play like more card draw probably. Bookkeeper Reckoner Raid is pretty good. Not a lot of like great manuscript. Oh, Mayhem Patrol is one that I like a lot. So it's just a pretty basic creature. I think we talked about this one last time with Tyrox, but oh shit, what's the name of the card? Mayhem Patrol, yeah. So 2 mana 1/2 with menace. Whenever it attacks, it gives another creature power. So you can buff. It can buff itself. It can buff one of our first striking creatures. It gets a free power from Judith, so it's a Grizzly Bear with that ability. So it's a lot of value packed on one card. The rate is super good. I like the card quite a bit. Not a lot of other like menace creatures that I really like. Surprisingly slim pickings. Deep Stock or Skull Taker's pretty good. You know. Alright, I think that's fine. Alright, spells. We got 96 cards. We can put 4 spells in the deck. Probably just all like, we'll play Lightning Bolt. We'll play, go for the Throat. We'll just put in some like good removal spells, just so we can clear the way if we need to. We'll play Coronation of Chaos. And there's another can't block spell that I really like. What's it called? Just like Falter. Like for a big turn, we should push through damage. Just, you know, creatures offline can't block. It's an instant, so we can use it for our opponents as well. This card's pretty good. It usually plays a lot better than it reads. And Coronation of Chaos is like, goad 3 things. It can't block this turn. Really good card. So I'm happy with this, honestly. Let's do some lands real quick. I'm probably going to build this in paper for Chicago. Before I thought about building it, I kind of had a copy of Judith on my desk that I've been trying to muster up the courage. Now that I'm actually building the deck, this very much appeals to my sensibilities. Nothing gets me going better than like a linear aggro deck where you just like are really digging through the dregs of the card pool for very specific things that are very bad in any other context, but like really good with what you're doing. Anyway, lands, common, Rakdos, yeah. We're really going to want to try and stay away from things that enter the battlefield tapped because we want to play on curve. So I'm not going to play much in the way of like Bloodfell Caves or these sorts of things. We are going to play cards like Opal Palace and Study Hall, obviously. These cards are really good. And our curve is low enough that we will pretty much often be able to channel or funnel mana into them to like cast our normal spells if we're like short on a color. But also like buff our commander if she gets killed, because she's going to eat removal, that's for sure. She adds so much to the deck that I can't imagine she's not going to get targeted. Not hated out, but targeted, definitely. Oh yeah, command tower. Really just don't want lands that enter the battlefield tapped. I really don't want to be doing that. I want to be able to use all my mana every turn. I could play like a really small Gates package, but I don't think that's... Without wasted tutor lands, I don't really care. So what is my thing? So I have a lot more red than black. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut down, remove 1, move 1, remove 1, remove 1. You do it like this, right? Let's see. So 55, 55, 61. So we need another red source. So we'll cut black mana. We'll add a red. That's fine. All right, let's actually let's do some printing police first, and then I'll do some playtesting. What, 20 minutes? Visual spoiler. Sort by mana value. All right, here we go. Judith. We are going to use... Oh, no, it's an commander. Multiverse Legends. Halo Foil. This is the one that I have. It's a Halo Foil Multiverse Legends. The scan on that doesn't look great, so I might just pick something else. Just the normal one. Color's much better there. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, let's see. Pestering Goblin, we want... Oh, there's a solid printing. We got one. Trasgo Purulento, as they say. Switch printing M14, please. Guild of Ravnica, please. Ravnica Allegiance. Goblin Arsonist is M12, I think. Oh, no, Rise. Yeah, that's sick. Grim Initiate, Physician. These I don't care about. Neonate, I don't want that. Those are shadows. Sorry, Scorpions from Ikoria. I like the Shambling Ghast art. We're going to keep that one. Shambling Goblin, I like it with a Sultai watermark. Keep that one. I like that Striking Sliver. Okay, I really hate like this showcase. We're just going to do the normal one. Just the normal one. Look at that. Okay. No Commander Legends, please. Scars of Mirrodin for the Perilous Mirror. I think Perilous Mirror is like one of the only ways I'll play a 2-mana 1/1 in this deck, because it shocks something when it dies. It's a lot of damage. Pattern Mummies from Almond Cat. Intro pack. Oath. I think we're pretty close. Not much else I really need to change. But Garden Fire Phoenix due to Weatherlight printing. Cool retro frame. OG. We've got things. Don't really want to change any of these. Don't really care. Yeah. Alright, Reckless Abandon. Just versus Destiny. Actually, let's do the modern frame one. Look at that. Doop 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 doop. That lightning bolt sucks. Give me a Hadouken. Where's the Hadouken? There it is. I want the Hadouken. This is one that I have in my Dragon's Rage Channeler deck. It's the Hadouken. These are fine. This one, we'll go to the Tony Trilogy. Plane Shift. I do like the what's it called? I think it's Alara Reborn. Yeah, Alara Reborn. Ooh, there's a retro frame. There's a player reward. Never mind. We'll do a box player reward version. It's pretty sick. Heartfire Go for the Throat is fine. I want to do. It's an etched version. That's sick. Just do the Warhammer one, the common set symbol. Impact Tremors. We'll do the Enchanting Tales here. It's pretty cool. And that goddamn Doctor Who command tower. Get that out of here. Get that out of here. I'm gonna do us. We'll just do the Eldraine one. Where is it? It's that art, but not that set, you know. Wow, it's like, wait, it's like buried. Throne of Eldraine, there we go. Originally printed in the Brawl decks. But I like this art the best. And it's got lightning bolts and fire, and that's kind of what we're doing with this deck, so it seems appropriate. Opals, this color template is fine. I'm gonna switch these printings. Ravnica. There's some good ones here. We want this one. Look at that. And we also want, whoops, this one. I'll show you. It's the coolest Ravnica mountain art that exists. Yeah. This one. This one is also sick, but I like this one a lot more. All right, there we go. There's our mountains and our swamps. Got our deck. All right, let's run it through the meat grinder. We got what, 12 minutes, 7:48. Do another hand playtest. All right. This hand seems fine. We've got some early plays. We've got 2 lands. We're gonna draw. Perfect. Not against Judith on 3. So we got a really great curve here. 1, 2. Attack for 1. Why not? 3. And now make it a 2. We got a 2/1. We got a 2/2. Go to combat. Give this thing, or you can give this +1. You know, so it's a 3/2 menace with our 2/1. So we're attacking for 5 damage here. You know, pretty good. This is what I was talking about with like these lands coming into play untapped, is that we can easily like filter into this if we want to. So a Splatter Goblin, which I kind of want to cast because then we have mana open for Corrupted Conviction or Go for the Throat. So we have a 3/1 here. All right, and then we attack. give this thing its power buff or whatever. So we got a 3/1. This can't attack this turn. We got 3/2, 2/1. And if they block, like what happens? What happens if they block, right? Like they have to double block this, which will easily be able to kill stuff. It's turn 4. There's probably not a ton of stuff that can really like stand up to this. Because let's say they block with like two, like a 2/3 or a 2/3 and a 1/1 or something like that. Like we kill both of them, don't we? Like put 2 damage on the 2/2 and or 2 damage on the 2/3 and 1 damage on the 1/1. Then they trade with this. We ping the thing. We 2-for-1 them. Like that's really great. They block this. We trade up. We kill the 2/3 with like this alone, and then we get a trigger here to kill another 1/1. Like it just adds up, stacks up so well for us. And then it's only get a better Spider Goblin with 3 power. Super is good here too. Yeah, I mean, we might as well just keep adding to the board. Like, why not? That's another one. Just like blocking is not good. Yeah, now we'd have what 3. Give this thing its power buff, so 3, 6, 8 damage. So 5, 5, 8. It's 18 damage by turn 5 with just these 3 creatures, and they're really bad to block. So I'm happy with that. All right, so light on creatures, but we got a lot of removal. Draw for turn. That's pretty good. Actually, we're gonna play the pup first. Because a 1/1 for 1 stacks up better. Like in the first turns of the game, if people are going to play out the 1/1s or whatever. First strike lets us attack, whereas like Shambling Guest would possibly trade. Drawing Arsonist here is perfect because we get to use all of our mana. We can attack for 1. Next turn, miss our land drop, so we have a couple options. We could like Insight. We could just like attack, cast Insight, sacrifice this, or like if we want, it depends. Like if we want to try drawing into a land, we can sacrifice the Arsonist. If not, we can sacrifice the Ghast and get the treasure for the sure thing. I personally kind of want to risk it for the biscuit, and we're going to sacrifice the Arsonist. Just like ping something with its death trigger, and then we'll draw 2. We whiff, obviously, but that's what you get. If we did it the other way around, we'd have a treasure this turn. So let it be known before I continue, I'm just going to, retroactively just go as if we did the correct thing. If we played it my way, we would have probably lost the game. But since we did take these backsies, I have this treasure. So now we can cast Judith. And now we have a 2/1 that trades up to a 4 toughness creature. And we have a 2/1 first strike. And now we can attack for 4. And now hopefully you draw 3rd land. Nope. But not bad. Shambling Goblin is not the worst thing. Since we're kind of in dire straits here, what we can do is like Reckless Abandon something. So we can Reckless Abandon like our Goblin Arsonist. So we have a bunch of things happening. We have 4 damage to target something with. We have 1 damage from the death trigger to target something with. You have 1 damage from Judith to target something with. So we just kill a bunch of shit. Next turn, we draw land. So now we can deploy this. Just get this guy out. Just start racking up damage. This is a 3/3 for 3, which is not bad at all. And like attack, this thing dies. We kill some other stuff, etc. We probably do this before, do this after combat so we can threaten the boast. Now we're like, oh no, I'm almost out of creatures. What am I ever gonna do? We got that. Let's cast this red cap. Ping everybody for 1. Get this guy out there. 2/2 double strike. Another land is perfect because now I can go like this. We can go Roastmaster, Spartan. So now by turn 8, like obviously like turn 8, whatever, right? But whoops. The thing to keep in mind is that like this is all just gold fishing, but we also have like more removal to stop people from like running away with the game if we want. And this is like pretty high damage removal, 3 and then 4. Not to mention like the triggers from the Shambling Goblins and stuff like that. Yeah, then Aether Chaser gets this little generated token for us, also the 3 power creature. It's pretty good. So like you kind of see how we just have a lot of dinky things that are just like really complicated to parse on a board. This hand is great. We've got a 1, we've got a 2, we've got a 3 or a 3. So what I'm going to do, what we're going to do, this one's going to be interesting. So actually I should draw a card for turn. That one's good. Festering Mummy, boom, next turn. Okay, that's cool. Going to cast Blood Celebrant. Whoop, hello. We got 2 creatures. Watch this, turn 3. I could play Judith, but instead I'm going to cast Twin Scroll Shaman. I'm going to have like a big turn 4, where I get to attack with all of these things and they're buffed. Alright, and now, I should try another land, but I'm going to play Judith. And now we have a 2. Whoops. A 2. A 3. And a 2. Look at all this damage. Now we got 5, 9 damage crashing on in with repercussions if they block. This is pretty good too. So even though we only have 3 lands, we have a lot of ways to divvy up our mana. We can play like this, and then Reckless Abandon if we want. We can cast this, we can cast the Captain and another Newt, and kind of like prep for another Reckless Abandon down the line, or we can just cast the Fire Fiend. Yeah, it seems pretty good. Definitely something that I like to be doing in this game. Oh boy, this is kind of awkward. Draw a card. Okay, it's not great. Not doing anything turn 1, but that's okay. Oh, of course we draw it. We're gonna get this Mayhem Patrol out there. No, I'm just gonna play all my 2-drops, right? Footlight Fiend, Commando. No black mana, kind of sucks. But you know what? Not the worst. This is pretty, like, threatening border creatures anyway. It does a lot. Like, yeah, I mean, it's not, well, we're pretty far away from our next swamp. Maybe I'll add a land, go up to 35. Oh, I only have 31. That's probably why. Add, I just messed up all my land count here. Add 1, and we'll add another mountain. That explains it. I have fixed the deck. We just added 3 lands for free, and here we are. All right, well, it's 7:57, so we'll start wrapping up. Hopefully, y'all kind of see where this differs from a card like Mayhem Devil at this point. I think it's easy to fall into comparisons between the 2 cards, but this one has 2 pieces that you can really play into, and if you're able to bridge the gap between the 2 of them, like the power buff and the death trigger, like this card kind of like really turns on in a pretty interesting way. Like even these innocuous idiots just like can kill. Like you can get like 2, 3 for 1s off of a lot of these things in some board states. You know, like I always say, people play with such slim margins, they don't count on getting 3 for 1, 2 for 1, like randomly by a Fear of Lost Teeth or a Shambling or a Festering Goblin, you know. And then obviously like we have like higher power for striking creatures to kind of bridge the gap and get us across the finish line, along with like some drain stuff too, right? Just some like filler creatures like Etched Familiar, cards that are not like super threatening in combat, but they're still like very unappealing to kill. All these creatures that just drain you out. And then at the top end, we got some Manticores just to kind of like increase our fatal blow count, which is pretty sick. You know, I like that. I like that. What I might do is I might just cut Manticore. We'll put in like a Night's Whisper. Yeah, why not? Just like a good old classic Night's Whisper. Switch the printing real quick. The Duskmourn one's pretty cool. We'll do that. Okay, that's the last change I'm making. All right, so we're done. We're locking it in. I'm going to build a variation of this for Chicago, like 90%. I'm going to start working on it because this is very cool and this is exactly what I like to be doing. Join me back here next week. We're going to be building another cool deck. What is it going to be? I don't know. We'll have to find out together. But make sure, as per always, you check out the description, link to the deck, link to the bookmarks of all the other decks that we've built over the last few months. on stream, and then some links to donate to Trans Lifeline and Trevor Project to help our trans community. The professor of I have a lot of the Aton White Border cards actually, but mostly the elves, not the Festering Goblin. Professor of Tulane Community College is running a drive right now for Trans Lifeline donations. I think he's already got up to almost $100,000 or something insane like that. Link to that is in the video description as well. So in lieu of like the link that I posted, Trans Lifeline, use that one, and you'll be entered to win raffles and stuff like that. There's details on the page, but I encourage you all to do that as well. And otherwise, I'll see you all next week, where we find more White Border Italian cards to stick into our decks, as is custom now, I think. It's kind of my deal. That's right, Bill. Wild door prizes. But with that, I'm logging off. I got shit to do. It's 8 o'clock. I'm out of time. Good night. Have a wonderful week.